the book of Isaiah, the chapter 49 and the 5th verse. Okay, and it says, "And now saith the Lord that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him." Why again? Because Jacob was lost. The lost sheep of the house of Israel.
That's right.
Why? Because of their sins, and that was due to the curses. The Lord said, if we were disobedient to His commandments, that all these curses shall come upon us. Right?
Yep.
Deuteronomy 28th chapter 15th verse on down, and it says, "Again to him, though Israel be not gathered," because all Israel right now is not gathered, but they're being gathered.
Right.
All right. "Yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of the Lord, and my power shall be my strength."
Go ahead.
And it says, "And he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob," meaning the 12 tribes of Jacob, "and to restore the preserved of Israel."
Right.
Who's the preserved of Israel? The 1/3.
The elect.
The elect. "I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles." This is talking
Right.
being the light to the Israelite foreigners throughout the whole earth. Okay.
That's right.
And trickling down to the prophets and disciples that were going to teach His word.
Yeah.
That thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth.
Why? Because you're going to have Israelites that were going to be scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth.
That's right.
Go ahead, read on.
Okay, and it says, "Thus saith the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel," and
the Redeemer of Israel. All throughout the scripture, every time you read, it's talking about the Redeemer of Israel,
which is Yahweh Shai.
And the people, when it speaks about the Gentiles, it's talking about Israelites that fell away from knowing that they were Israelites.
Right.
Go ahead.
"Thus saith the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel, and his holy one, to him whom man despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because of the Lord that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee."
Right, because you're talking about the Israelite foreigners. Alright, so now let's go back to Romans 9 and 26.
Okay.
And let's read on from there.
Okay, Romans chapter 9 verse 26. "And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living power."
Which is letting you know that it's talking about Israel. And if you didn't understand it through the scriptures that we read, going back to the Old Testament, which was clear, it goes on again to say in Isaiah 9 and 27. I'm sorry, Romans 9 and 27. Go ahead.
Romans 9:27. "Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel."
Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel. Not only was it written in the book of Hosea, but Isaiah is also crying concerning the children of Israel. See, because when Paul was writing these letters, he understood perfectly what he was writing. He wasn't writing to all the nations. He was writing to the children of Israel and those that were scattered among the other nations. Go ahead.
"Though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved."
A remnant shall be saved, because the Lord already has an elect. Alright, so now let's go from there. I mean, brothers could read the rest of the chapter. Go to the book of Romans, the 10th chapter and the 12th verse. We're going to try to jump around a little bit.
Come.
Romans, the 10th chapter and the 12th verse.
The book of Romans, the 10th chapter and the 12th verse. "For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek."
Right, so now you'll read something like that. If you don't have the understanding of it, then you will be lost. Go to the book of John, the 19th chapter and the 19th verse, so you can get an understanding of what it means by there is no difference between a Jew and a Greek. Go ahead, brother.
The book of St. John, chapter 19, verse 19. "And Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross, and the writing was, Yahweh Shai of Nazareth, the King of the Jews."
The King of the Jews. Go ahead.
This title then read many of the Jews, for the place where Yahweh Shai was crucified was nigh to the city, and it was written in Hebrew and Greek and Latin.
It was written in Hebrew, it was written in Greek, and it was written in Latin. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, brother.
That's alright. It was written in Hebrew and Greek and in Latin. Go ahead.
Then said the chief priests of the Jews to Pilate, right?
No, go back to the 20th verse.
Alright, 20th verse again. This title then read many of the Jews, for the place where Yahushua was crucified was nigh to the city, and it was written in Hebrew and Greek and Latin.
Right, so it says, this title then read many of the Jews, which are Israelites, for the place where Yahushua was crucified was nigh to the city, and it was written in Hebrew and Greek and in Latin. Why? Because these Jews were speaking those different languages. That's why when you go back to Romans 10 and 12, it says, for there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. Why? Because they are all Israelites. Go ahead.
Back in Romans, right?
Romans 10 and 12. Mm-hmm.
Romans 10 and 12. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. For the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved.
You should be following along right now. Right about now. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. That's talking about the Israelites. Go ahead.
How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed?
Go ahead.
And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard?
Go ahead.
And how shall they hear without a preacher?
You need a teacher to teach you. But be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High. Go ahead.
And how shall they preach except they be sent?
Go ahead.
As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace.
So now the gospel of peace was preached. Why? Because the nation of Israel had went off from the Most High. The Most High took his peace away from Israel. So when Yahushua came and the disciples were teaching and the apostles, they became apostles, and then the different apostles and the different teachers were speaking, they were preaching the gospel of peace. Why? Because the Most High had once again had mercy on the nation of Israel, because he was going to bring them back to him, to himself. That's why the gospel of peace was preached. Go ahead.
And bring glad tidings of good things.
Go ahead.
But they have not all obeyed the gospel.
Right, they have not all obeyed the gospel. Go ahead.
For Isaiah saith, Lord, who hath believed our report?
Go ahead.
So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Most High. But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily. Their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world.
Right, because this scripture here is a quotation going back to the book of Romans. I'm sorry, the book of Psalms, the 19th chapter. And that was a fulfillment of that. A part of a fulfillment of that was during the time when Paul and the disciples, the different disciples and apostles, were out there teaching the word. But they had to go physically, at that particular time, even though they still have to go physically now. You see? But now the fulfillment of that is fully fulfilled, because the word of the Lord is going out throughout the four corners of the earth now. You see? So Paul and them went out and they taught Israel. Go ahead.
But I say, did not Israel know?
See, it keeps mentioning Israel. Didn't Israel know? But I say, did not Israel know? Go ahead.
First Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people.
Right, and we just read in the book of Hosea, the first chapter, that the Most High said
that we are not a people.
Right, that we were not going to be a people.
Right, that's right.
That's talking about the nation of Israel. So it says, first Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people. And we can go back to that, but we don't have to. Go ahead.
And by a foolish nation I will anger you.
And by a foolish nation I will anger you. So now stop there, and let's go from there to the book of so it says, I'm going to read that again. It says, but I say, did not Israel know? First Moses said, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's go to that point. No, let's go back to Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, and the 15th verse. I was going to skip that, but, I guess the Spirit wants that to come out. So, Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, and the 15th verse. And it makes it clear who it's talking to.
Come. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 15. But Jeshurun waxed fat,
and
kicked.
That's talking. Jeshurun is talking about Israel. The word Jeshurun means Yashawan, which means the first. Go ahead.
Thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook the Most High, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation.
So when Israel got all the goodness of the land of Israel that the Most High kicked the other nations out of, then they just kicked back and just forgot about the Most High. Go ahead.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. What are the strange gods that they provoked him to jealousy with? Going back to the gods of Egypt, which they knew because they was worshiping those gods back then.
Right, they're worshiping them now.
That's right, they're worshiping them right now. Go ahead.
With abominations provoked they him to anger.
Go ahead.
They sacrificed unto devils.
They sacrificed unto devils.